minister and also an advisor to the president on education, president of Haiti on education. Prime Minister, I beg your pardon. Kreutzer Maturin. Dr. Maturin is the chief of staff to the minister. Dr. Sergo Jacob, is that correct? Am I close? Well, thank you. He's an active part of the staff. Emmanuel Jean-Francois, who's a specialist in communications. Welcome. And Lucman Vieux, a specialist in communication. In addition to our Haitian guests, I wanted to say a special thank you to Sean Penn and his JP Haiti Relief Organization. His work and the work of that organization was recently complimented in a New York Times book review, a book that is somewhat critical at times of the relief effort in Haiti. His organization is represented today by Benjamin Krause and Birgit Murph. Welcome. And I also want to welcome all of you who are joining us via the internet. And I understand among those watching is Philip Caputo, who's the executive director of the Happy Heart Fund. That fund was founded and chaired by Petra Nemkova, who's also been deeply committed to helping build education in Haiti. Well, as we look at everything from the economic future to the question of global governance, we find that education lies at the heart of the future. In today's conference, it's natural that we put education together with nation building, a theme that you would find embraced in virtually every country of the world, certainly including the United States. Now let me introduce our two distinguished speakers. You have their bios, so I will do my best to be brief. First, we will hear from His Excellency Vanneur Pierre, the Minister of Education in Haiti. Delighted to have you here, Mr. Minister. The minister brings to his post a very distinguished educational background and a deep experience in planning and managing education reform. He started with an undergraduate degree in mathematics. I'm always a little intimidated by mathematicians. A master's degree in engineering and project management, and a second master's in planning from the International Institute for Education Planning in Paris. From 2007 to 2011, he planned, coordinated, and managed key strategies for educational development in Haiti, and then, of course, since that time has been the Minister of Education. Following the minister, we are delighted to welcome Paul Vallas. Paul is, among his many accomplishments, a distinguished scholar at the Woodrow Wilson Center. Some of you may have picked up a recent publication of the center that encapsulates some of Paul's ideas on education reform. He started in the budget office. He always pays attention to money. Budget office of the city of Chicago. Went on to lead successful reform efforts in Chicago and Philadelphia, and then, of course, as the director of the Recovery School District in New Orleans. Now he's working on school reform in Bridgeport. So you can see why here at the center we think of Paul as Mr. Education Reform. Following the devastating earthquake in Haiti, Paul was asked to serve as a lead consultant to the government of Haiti, and he continues in that role as an advisor both to the government of Haiti and to His Excellency the Minister. One technical matter, you all have headsets because part of today's program will be in French as well as English. I want you to point the receiver toward the stage. If you hit 1, you will hear the translation. So when it's French, you'll hear English. When it's English, you'll hear French. You can turn down the volume if you wish, or you can go, if you speak French and English, you can simply go to channel 3 and you'll hear the direct programming as it occurs right on the stage. And for the web, again, everything you hear will be translated directly into either in English or translated directly into English. The minister's remarks, as you may have seen, are available both in French and in English. They are very much worth reading through. I think it shows the commitment of the minister and of the government of Haiti and their vision for the future. Mr. Minister, the floor is yours.
Mesdames, Messieurs, les représentants des institutions
Ladies
partenaires,
and gentlemen, representatives of Haiti's institutional partners, dear friends of Haiti,
politique de formation internationale,
and you, members of the Woodrow Wilson International Center for Scholars,
je vous remercie de votre présence ici aujourd'hui.
thank you for being here today,
Wilson Center de créer cet espace
and thank you to the Wilson Center
partager avec la
for
communauté
providing this forum
travail important
for me to
dans le
speak
domaine de l'éducation
to the
que
important
nous sommes
work
en train de mener.
in education in Haiti.
Ma présence ici revêt, à mes yeux,
My
deux significations
presence here today carries, in my view, two essential meanings.
que vous accordez à la
First,
haïtienne en général.
it reflects your strong interest in the Haitian cause in general. More specifically, it anticipates the favorable expression that I sense in you to what I came here to plead regarding the Haitian Ministry of Education's operational plan.
Nos institutions partenaires
I want to begin by thanking all the partners of the Haitian government
ou à un autre
and all those who,
contribuent
in one way or another,
possible.
are working to contribute to the success
Le
of this
message que je
mission.
porte aujourd'hui,
The message I am here to
de
deliver
l'horizon nouveau,
is that new horizons are opening up for
il ne
Haiti.
me paraît pas opportun
In this respect, I do not find it
parler du sentiment
appropriate to
d'importance
give
de la
a
population
long
haïtienne
speech
manifestant
regarding
depuis toujours
the interest of the Haitian population for education.
à vous dire
I
l'initiative du président de la République,
simply
son Excellence Joseph Michel
would
Martelly,
like to say that the initiative put forward by the President
tous les
Martelly
enfants à l'école,
to establish a program for universal education
démonstration de la soif des familles
shows in itself eloquently the thirst of all families to take their children to school and give them an education.
il est bien matériel que les parents veulent laisser à leurs enfants que le capital humain.
That is this human heritage that the parents of that the Haitians parents want to give their children.
Collectivité haïtienne dans la modernité.
And that is, we see this as a contribution to the entrance of Haiti into modernity.
Agent de l'éducation,
The challenge for me and my ministry as agents of education, in partnership with the international community, is not only to ensure that our children have access to quality education,
un socle
but that they
commun
also complete at least their primary cycle of schooling
positif
and achieve proficiency in common and basic core educational skills.
Si une leçon suprême devait être tirée du tremblement de
If
terre
a supreme lesson should be drawn
que la
for the
population
devastating earthquake of 2010, it is that simple fact that the Haitian people,
cette catastrophe
above all, favor education.
à un moment où le pays
This disaster struck
avait encore
during the period in which Haiti was struggling with the aftermath of 4 hurricanes, all of which occurred in the
les
same
documents de
season.
stratégie qui existaient
At
ne
the
fournissaient aucun
time,
repère
we had no benchmark strategies for action in situations of emergencies of this magnitude. We had to reinvent everything.
moins de 3 mois après.
But the return to school less than 3 months later
Depuis,
meant a return to life.
refondation du système éducatif
Since
a
then,
été
the
pensée
restructuring
comme maîtresse
of the
de la
education
refondation sociale.
system has been thought as the restructuring, the refoundation of the social system.
3 ans.
An operational
Couvre la
plan
période 2010
has existed for the last 3 years, 2010 through 2015.
est à la hauteur
This plan
des défis auxquels est confronté le système éducatif
competently addresses the challenges facing a total redesign of the Haitian education system.
depuis la petite enfance.
This plan embraces the system in its entirety, from early childhood to higher education,
Et la
including
formation.
literacy, special education, and vocational training.
Le pari que nous faisons
We are
est celui de fournir
betting
des services éducatifs de
on
qualité
providing quality educational services to all
où qu'ils
children
se
in
trouvent
Haiti,
sur le territoire national.
regardless of where they live on our national territory.
Il s'agit de permettre à
In
tout
other
Haïtien
words, it means that we wish
d'acquérir
that we
les
want
habiletés
to
requises
give
pour
all
participer
children
en
in
fonction de ses
Haiti
aspirations, bien évidemment,
to
à l'essor de
reach
la société.
through their potentials to contribute to the growth of the society.
L'engagement de la refondation en matière
Such is
d'éducation
our
prévu dans le plan
commitment
opérationnel.
to education,
L'engagement du gouvernement haïtien.
and such is the commitment of the Haitian government.
À laquelle j'appartiens a déjà fait un bout de chemin dans la mise en œuvre du plan.
Our administration has started to implement
200 000 enfants
this operational plan.
actuellement
In fact, more than 1 million of children
n'est pas
are
assez
currently
inquiétés de
in
trouver
school
l'argent nécessaire
learning without their
des frais
parents
d'études.
having to worry about finding the funds for the payment of tuition fees. This plan also
La prise en
includes
charge des enfants de rue pour leur donner
taking care of street children the same opportunity to education, to be on the track to an education.
et une place assise dans des conditions
We are
décentes
working so that
tout en
each
ayant
child,
accès à un plat chaud.
besides behind provided a seat in the classroom,
Nous nous
will
occupons
also
également
receive a hot
former des
meal
enseignants
every school day.
sans lesquels le système ne pourra générer les résultats escomptés. En même temps,
At the same
nous
time,
sommes engagés
we have committed ourselves to implement the conditions of work.
depuis la fin des années 90.
Since the end of the 1990s, our ministry
Malin,
has been trying as much as possible
de réformes sectorielles.
to implement sectorial education
Le
reform
tremblement de terre
plans.
du 12 janvier 2010,
The earthquake of
par
January
l'ampleur de ses effets sur
2010,
l'ensemble du fonctionnement
with
de
the
notre
magnitude of its effects on the
société, a
functioning of
remis en
our
cause
society,
cette approche tatillonne.
has more urgently raised
Le
questions
gouvernement
about our previously slow and gradual approach. Our government has decided to be effective and to address and resolve once and for all the problems that have continued to undermine the country's development. This implies turning the disaster into an opportunity for development. And that also means to diminish, to reduce the dependency on foreign aid.
Significative de l'efficacité de l'aide s'impose. Et ceci ne se fera
As the strategy of implementation
sans faille de nos partenaires
of this operational plan will only happen with the unwavering support of the international community around the goals of the Haitian government.
à avoir de très bonnes collaborations avec nos différents partenaires.
We are looking to develop and strengthen excellent and strong relationship with our partners.
Par le renforcement institutionnel
The strategy of implementation of the operational plan through the institutional strengthening of the ministry is designed to develop an actual sequence of interventions to resolve forever all of the historical problems related to the education system in Haiti.
des choix de développement collectif.
And that will imply very discerned choices.
Recours à l'expertise
This strengthening of the state education apparatus relies upon cooperation between national and international expertise,
un transfert réel de compétences aux structures étatiques. Et d'autre part, la responsabilité partagée
we
de chacune
must
des parties
understand
dans l'atteinte
that it is about sharing responsibilities in an effective way in order to achieve the goals expected.
Le grand défi de la mise en œuvre du plan opérationnel consiste donc à mettre en capacité le ministère
So we want to
d'assurer pleinement
put
et définitivement
the ministry in a position where it can efficiently and definitely take on the responsibilities that are its.
dans la perspective
All the efforts should be understood in that framework, in that direction.
aujourd'hui. L'enjeu majeur pour Haïti est de préparer son entrée
Today,
dans le 21e siècle.
the challenge for all of Haiti is to prepare for its entry into the 21st century.
Les citoyens
For this, we need to be able to raise citizens
s'adapter
who can understand and adapt to their environments.
ouverts
The citizens shall be open to the world and respectful of their duties.
telle est, mesdames, messieurs,
Such
la tâche
is, ladies and gentlemen, the task that the Haitian government is facing every day. Thank you very much.
Great. I'm like Jean-Claude.
Comme Jean-Claude, je suis grand et le plus proche que je suis au podium.
Thanks so much for hosting this. Kent is a force of nature. I mean, I never met someone who has accomplished so much and worked so hard and just moves so fast, and yet he does it with such grace. He always looks like he's relaxing, and yet he's getting amazing things done. I want to acknowledge and recognize just a few people in the audience too. You know, and Sabine, I always mispronounce your last name, and I've done it only because I'm like phonetically challenged. But Sabine and it has been really my point person. If you can just stand up for a second, not at IDB, she's really done a great job. Sabine Boog and other IDB members are here today, and having had an opportunity to work with them for the last 3 years, it's really been a joy, and I just want to recognize them. Major Joseph Bernadette, there he is. Major, a founder of an extraordinary school, Toussaint Louverture High School, CEO and sponsor, and obviously one of the leaders in the Haitian diaspora. Have had an opportunity to work with him very, very closely. He's always there. Jean-Claude Brizard, one of America's leading educators, if he'll wave a hand too, and just definitely a role model of mine, has done extraordinary work, highly recognized by the Broad Foundation, a real leader in the Haitian community. Benjamin Cross, director of JPHRO, one of the best NGOs. It's amazing what they've been able to do down there. Sean Penn literally lives in Haiti. I know that because when first time I met him, he came out of a tent and immediately lit up a cigarette, okay, early in the morning, and offered me one, incidentally. Incidentally, I think I took it. Don't tell anybody that. But they really do an amazing job. And it's amazing the way they've turned that NGO into a Haitian-run and dominated and administered NGO in a little less than 3 years. It's absolutely incredible. And there's many other members. Tressa Pankovitz, who, of course, has worked with me and has done so much of our research, so much of our work. I want to recognize her. And finally, Sharon Ravitch from UPenn, who is also, where's Sharon? Who also has played a very critical role in working with the infrastructure to build up their infrastructure. I was invited by the minister to join him here and to supplement his comments by making some observations of my own. You'll be hard-pressed to find a country where the international community has effectively played a major role in building a functioning, accessible educational system. Please, if there is one out there, let me know. And there's two reasons for that. Different reasons. One reason is it can't be done. Two reasons is it's not being done right. I tend to think that it's the latter. I mean, there is this tendency, particularly in the developed countries that lack infrastructure, to go in and to try to show them or tell them how to do it and never give them the capacity to do it themselves. So as a result, you know, you have extraordinary examples of small successes, little pilot projects, little individual initiatives that have success. But at the end of the day, you don't build something that's comprehensive. The opportunity for Haiti is to go in and there's an opportunity to do it right. Now you have to understand, Haiti, and if anybody wants to really understand the history of Haiti, there are some extraordinary books to read. There's about the Haitian experience, and I just refer them to those books like Paradise Lost and others to really get a sense of the challenge that the Haitians have experienced, and I need not say more than that. But the bottom line is, when you look at Haitians in that country and Haitians who have come to this country, I don't think there's a more successful immigrant group than Haitians in this country today. From Jean-Claude Bajard, from the Major, and from so many extraordinary Haitians who I've met working with CUNY, it's just an extraordinary thing. So the capacity, the leadership, the dynamism is there. So what is keeping us from being successful in Haiti is our tendency not to coordinate what we do and to go in a kind of a coordinated, systematic way, and to build a functioning educational system that reflects the Haitian culture and Haitian environment, and to do it in a way that really sets clear priorities. About 3 years ago, when I was invited by the Inter-American Development Bank and the Haitian government to come to work with these reformers. And incidentally, the reformers are now dominating the Ministry of Education. These are the individuals who wrote the plan. These are the individuals who developed a plan, a comprehensive plan that was clear and concise and that was focused, and it actually had an operational scheme that was doable and affordable within the resources that had been committed. When I came here to work with them to develop the plan, there were three things that I noticed. The first was that there was a limited infrastructure before the natural disaster, before the earthquake, and that infrastructure was further undermined during the Aristide years, when a lot of the foreign aid was shifted away from the government towards the NGOs. And I'm not making a value judgment on that. That was, obviously there were justifiable political reasons for doing that, but it worsened the governmental institutions to an even greater extent. And then, of course, the earthquake hit, and successive hurricanes and the cholera epidemic, and it devastated the country even more. It wiped out what little infrastructure was left. So you're dealing with a country that needed, first of all, to build an infrastructure, to build that foundation, if a functioning educational system was to develop, and if a functioning educational system was to develop that would provide access and quality. And, we've heard a lot about, it seems that whenever we meet with people or we go to conferences, somebody stands up and he says, well, we need data. We need to be able to analyze the situation. You don't need data to figure out that about 90% of the teachers have ninth grade equivalencies or less. You don't need data to figure out that few of the schools have standardized curriculum and instructional materials. You don't need data to figure out that 80% of the children go to school and receive no tuition subsidies by any stretch of the imagination. You don't need data to figure out that the ministry was devastated by these successive disasters. The first disaster beginning with the earthquake. So, and what the ministry has laid out, and what the minister has laid out, is a plan that doesn't need data to lay out the priorities. If you look at the plan that has been set up, besides the fact that it really is, in many respects, an early childhood through a university plan, the plan talks about the development of a national curriculum, the plan so that every teacher can have curriculum and instructional materials needed to compensate, to provide them with the tools they need to be effective, and to begin developing ways to deliver that curriculum behind just the traditional instructional environment, and so that you can begin moving forward. The plan talks about the creation of a facilities authority so the Haitians can begin prioritizing where their schools should be built, and so that you can develop standardized designs, and so that you can develop a strategy for having set designs so you can save money and you can build schools that are hurricane and earthquake proof. And yes, indeed, they can be built that way. and schools that meet the needs of the Haitian population. The plan talks about the reaching a consensus on what the public subsidy model should be. So whether you're private schools or public schools, children are provided with tuition subsidies, and that subsidy model be a model that can ensure accountability. The plan talks about the creation of a student and family information system, which is not that difficult to do if people would just reach a consensus on, and the international community would reach a consensus on how to do it. It's something that can be done quickly, so that you can not only identify the student needs, but you can determine the family needs. You know, the plan talks about establishing partnerships with individual universities. You know, the cost of revitalizing and strengthening a Haitian university is the cost of building a small dormitory, on a typical American college or university campus. I mean, that's how little the investment is needed, or to establish those type of partnerships. So if you look at the plan, that's been laid out, the plan is comprehensive, but it's focused on the fundamentals. It sets very clear, specific goals, all designed to begin building infrastructure so the Haitians can take control of their own destiny. And the government has moved forward to raise money, and in some ways, controversial ways, from telecommunications tax to taxing the tickets for air flights in and out to, they've laid out a whole array of revenue-generating measures so that they can begin to build a quasi-modern revenue-generating system so that they can sustain these critical priorities. And of course, the government has made education a priority. And to take advantage of the balkanization that exists within the international community among the NGOs, the ministry developed an operational plan which called for the creation of what we call operational working groups along functional areas. So you could get the various organizations, international organizations and leading NGOs grouped in their area of strength, you know? One group maybe takes responsibility for or takes the lead when it comes to developing the subsidy. The other on the infrastructure side. The other on the on the development of the national curriculum. So in effect, you would take advantage of that balkanization, and you would place groups and international groups and NGOs in their appropriate area, so that they could focus on the task at hand. So, you know, everybody could be leaders, so to speak. But then those activities would be prioritized, and those tasks and each of those operational working groups would have very specific tasks. Those short-term tasks to begin building the infrastructure, and every successive task would strengthen and expand the infrastructure and benefit more children. But the task that we're facing now is the need to actually pay. Stop paying lip service to the plan and actually to move forward and to begin implementing the plan. Now, there are political challenges in any environment. You know, President Martelly, it took President Martelly almost a year to get his prime minister, Lamont Laurent, appointed, and then in turn, the ministers appointed in respective cabinets. It would be the equivalent of President Obama becoming president and then having to live with the cabinet of his predecessors. Just imagine that. Just imagine the political dynamics of that. But they're here at this time and place. The plan has now been out there for 3 years, waiting to be implemented, endorsed by the Parliament, endorsed by the international organizations. Supported by the lead international institution, IDB, who has played such a prominent role in helping develop the plan or helping support the plan, endorsed by the Clinton Foundation. President Clinton has come to the country 2 to 3 times to talk up the plan. So the opportunities here are opportunities that should not be missed. But you know what's going to happen? It's like Andy Warhol said, 15 minutes of fame. Well, sometimes countries have their own 15 minutes of crises. People pay attention, and then people kind of drift away. And I'll tell you, I'm tired of going to events and telling people that I've been working in Haiti and then being scolded that, why are we throwing money at Haiti? What are they going to accomplish? You know, the mythology of why we can't help developing countries really develop, particularly ones that are 90 miles, that are, an hour and a half from our shores, so close to our shores. So the minister came to Washington this week to, I don't want to say scold the international organizations that have really been generous, and so many of them have devoted their time and careers to development in countries like Haiti. Many individuals doing it thankless way, without expectation of thanks. But what the minister came here to do was to, again, rally the international organizations to recommit themselves to the plan and to begin to move forward to provide Haiti, to help Haiti build the infrastructure needed so that they can take control of their own destiny. This is not a country that wants to be dependent on other countries. This is a country that wants to determine its own course, to find its own path. But we have to help them. We have to give them the capacity to do it. And this doesn't mean providing them, taking someone who doesn't have a car and giving them a car, but then driving them around. This is about letting them borrow the car and maybe sitting in the back seat, But this is about giving them an infrastructure that we can then turn over to them that they can call their own. I mean, that's what we're trying to accomplish here, and that's why so many of us are really committed to the cause. I do want to make one note. Loretta Garden from USAID. Loretta has done this work in so many other places, and now Haiti is extraordinarily fortunate to have her working in Haiti. I mean, she is she's one of our living angels, so to speak. So I know I went a little too long. Tress has been giving me the hand and arm signals. Tress, I probably forgot to mention something. I thought I followed your script to a T. She says, now cut it off. And once again, thank you for your indulgence, and thank you so much for coming out.
Well, we do have some time for questions. Mr. Minister, are you comfortable taking a question or two? And Paul, I know Paul's, now that he's advocated a new approach, the backseat driver school of foreign assistance, I think there's always some new lessons from every session we have. Let me open it up for questions. And when you do ask a question, please speak clearly and a little slowly. That's a great help to the translators. I know when I was struggling to learn another language, and it was clear I didn't understand the person speaking to me. They assumed I was deaf, and so I'd get the same rapid speech, but at an elevated volume. Yes, the gentleman in the back.
Hi, my name is Eric Walcott, Executive Director of the National Organization for the Advancement of Haitians. And once again, I want to welcome the minister. What you're doing in terms of bringing up an issue that is burning on our hearts in terms of the school-age children in Haiti and what we can do to reinforce and build the capacity in Haiti. My question is really probably better suited to the IDB and probably to those who have championed this cause. Why don't we front-load funding to support the school project in Haiti? And by front-loading it, just the same way that we've done with the World Bank Malaria Fund, where the pledges are actually put in place immediately, put at the disposal of the country, so that they can build the schools immediately, not tomorrow, not 5 years from now, but now. And this can be done. This can be done with the pledges of the member state countries. And I want to say that NOAA was chosen to represent the diaspora community as part of the donors conference at the World Bank, at the United Nations, way back when, around the earthquake time. And this was a thing that we were actually touting, because we knew while this issue was burning on our hearts and our minds, countries were committed to doing something, that even with the best salesman in the world in Bill Clinton, the history of member states is that they oftentimes do not act on their commitment to Haiti. So I want to say, why don't we try something new and novel? Why don't we get countries who have pledged to front load the Inter-American Development Bank as well as the World Bank, could put that facility together, and they could float the bonds. They know how to do it. Why don't we try something novel? Because otherwise, Mr. Minister, your tenure would have ended, and you probably would not have been successful in building 10% of the infrastructure that you intend to build in that wonderful plan of yours. Thank you.
Merci pour. Merci
Thank you
pour les commentaires
for these comments
et les questions.
and for this question. I think there are two questions in your question.
Première question.
The first question,
J'essaie de reprendre pour voir si la traduction est conforme à ce que vous avez dit.
I'm going to try to answer to see if I understood properly the question. Why no front loading? Why no advance funds for Haiti?
Et pourquoi il n'y a pas
And the second
d'enfants à l'école?
question, why aren't there many people at school? I'm not sure I understood properly. Ah, il a pas.
Moi, je suis anglophone, mais je peux enseigner quand même dire ça en français. Je pense qu'au sujet d'Haïti, on n'avait pas une très bonne histoire au sujet de commitment que les différents bailleurs de fonds a committé ou promis pour Haïti. À cause de ça, on demande qu'on enseigne quelque chose qui est un peu révolutionnaire sur le côté d'Haïti. Ça veut dire qu'avec tous les commitments, avec le Bill Clinton Fund, avec le Bill Gates Fund, avec le BID, avec le Banque mondiale, si on veut committer, par exemple, 100 millions de dollars pour Haïti, pour mettre aux dispositions de le pays d'Haïti, parce que tout le monde est d'accord sur ce très bon plan que vous avez, il faut que le
This
pays
gentleman repeats the question in French.
le support tout de suite, même immédiatement. Et je pense comme membre de BID, vous pouvez commander ça à BID pour considérer ça au board des directeurs de front load.
So the question is, why not front loading the question immediately for the schools, to build schools? If not, we will still be at the same place that we are at today, because the funds will not be coming. We need to start with the funds and put them up front.
The policy towards Haiti is still built on the failed Jesse Helms.
Ce que l'on fait pour Haïti, c'est la même chose que ce que l'on faisait dans les politiques de Jesse Helms.
Still surprised that many of our Democratic representatives are parroting the failed Jesse Helms approach. So I want to say that you need the funding and you need it immediately, and we have to, as part of the international community, support you in saying, right now, front load the money provided to the government of Haiti.
Okay,
Thank
good,
you.
Good.
And Paul, you might want to comment as well.
Yeah, let me just make, and this could be helpful for the minister. She's translating for me in English. First of all, there's two issues here, and I'm going to harken back to the plan. One of the priorities in the plan was to create an infrastructure authority, and a working group was created dedicated to do that. The idea would be you could create an infrastructure authority that could do a lot of things. It could leverage funds. It could get a revenue stream that it could then bond against. But that authority could also pre-design schools. They could do a mapping, assess where schools were needed, design schools that were earthquake and hurricane proof. Children of the World, Bill DeYoung has done hundreds of schools like that in, I think, Honduras. And he was actually part of the committee that was brought together. It's 3 years now, there's no facilities authority. Despite the fact that it has been a priority of the ministry. And I'm not saying that there's like collective guilt in not doing that, but that's an example. That's an example, because just not getting the funds advanced, but coming up with a strategic plan, pre-designing, pre-equipping, pre-supplying, pre-purchasing, so you could build schools at an accelerated pace. Those are things that need to be done. And I think what the minister is if you look at the plan, the creation of a school construction authority can give you the vehicle for doing some of the creative things that you're mentioning right now. So the question is, rather than say why, my answer, there's no answer to that, and why not? Why can't we front load? Why can't we advance? Why can't we bond? There's no reason why we can't do that. But we also need an entity that can take responsibility for designing and pre-designing the buildings and standardizing the designs and doing the necessary things. Just think of the economic benefits to the country of doing massive school construction throughout the country. But right now, everything is fragmented. And it doesn't have to be, because the ministry is committed to basically consolidating but allowing the Haitians to kind of provide the leadership and the direction for that authority, not to be dictated to, but to provide the direction themselves.
Mr. Minister?
Alors, juste pour compléter la réponse de Paul.
The response of Paul.
Le plan opérationnel.
The operational plan was prepared in a very specific context. The processes for this preparation was to encourage all the partners to participate. So promises of funding were made. Several partners, such as the IDB, the World Bank, most partners are trying to really meet their commitments. And we want to optimize the funds that are at our disposal. Then the second step will be to raise more funds to augment the participation of the partners. And then, of course, work with this, imply the state, involve the state in this dynamic as well. We are talking about refoundation, restructuring. We are underway, and ultimately, we will manage to do what is supposed to be done and accomplished. Le monsieur et ensuite la dame là-bas, et je voudrais donner la chance à l'occasion à monsieur de la BID.
And then, sir, we'll come right to you.
In regard to advancing the funds, also at this point, the bank approved 3 operations, each one for 50 million. So the government has at its disposition right now 150 million.
Thank you. And the gentleman here? And then if you could please identify yourself.
Nom c'est Michel de Graaf. Donc, m'a dit ministre bonjour encore.
My name is Michelle de Graaf. I'm saying hello to the minister. I'm going to, je le dirai en anglais, though I'm créolophone. It's a pleasure to speak with you and to talk about your work. You know that in Haiti we're having a team developing activities. And I want to mention, it's sorry, I'm not créolophone. Je suis pas créolophone, excusez-moi. We'd like to know your objectives and what kind of work you plan to do in Haiti with your team. And now I'm going to say it in English for those people who don't understand Creole. Je m'appelle Monsieur de Graaf et je travaille en Haïti avec une équipe de Haiti Initiative où on fait des études de planification des maths et en créole.
The minister mentioned efforts to teach teachers, teacher training efforts so that the system produce good results. I want to find out about the details of this program for teacher training and what the pedagogies are, what the timeline is, what the goals are, details about how exactly teacher training is happening in this plan. So, thank you very much, Minister, and good luck with your project. Bonne chance pour projet.
Merci beaucoup, Michel.
Thank you very much,
comme j'ai dit,
Michael,
les
Michel.
enseignants constituent dans le cadre de la refondation.
As I said, the elders are very important in this restructuring, and without the teachers, it's impossible to have quality service. What we're trying to do currently is to train our teachers, school teachers, through our system of higher education. And we develop a true policy of teachers' formation, integrating also their working conditions, including salaries and development of formation. We need to propose to offer attractive careers for the teachers. What we want to see is, at the end, what kind of qualified teachers will I have? I have to have, at the end, ultimately, a certain type of good citizens. And so, as a minister, what I have to do is call on the technicians of the ministry to help me reach this end product of the good citizens that I have defined. So we want to believe in our partnerships. We are also looking on the competencies and on the experience of all the sons and daughters of Haiti that are outside of Haiti, that are abroad. And so we want to rely on you from the diaspora who are here. You have a lot to give to the country, especially to the education system.
And the lady was next, and then the lady there. Right here in the second row.
Et puis la dame à la deuxième.
Again, if you could please introduce yourself.
Thank you. My name is Marjorie Pierre Brennan. I'm the Executive Director of the Joseph Dennis Thomas Foundation, and I want to thank all of you for your comments. Welcome, Minister Pierre. My question has to do with, we've talked a lot today about, there's no doubt that having a strong primary education system is crucial. That's true in any country, of course. But as we talk about some of the bigger questions of being able to allow Haiti to take control of its destiny, ultimately that's going to require some higher education opportunities, whether that be college or vocational schools. And I'm wondering how the thought of that fits into the plan for education. Does the plan include both opportunities for higher education, and are you preparing students to face the challenge of a higher education?
Merci pour la question. C'est une question
Thank you
très,
for
très
your
pertinente.
questions. It's a most pertinent question. The plan is being structured around 7 poles. One of those poles concerns the higher education. It's a very important sector. It's a major preoccupation for our government. At the base, of course, is around qualified teachers, and the strategy is to imply higher education institutions for the production of such qualified teachers. So the subsector of higher education needs to be modernized, supported, and completely retransformed, actually. Several measures have started. We are trying to devolve the public universities in the different regions, a devolution mechanism. For us, it's absolutely certain the base for the development that we are searching is to reinforce and develop a higher education system of great quality. Haiti could become a lab in many ways. It's a space that is not scientifically studied. So much has to be done. And we are preparing now our students for this finality. The education is a continuum. We start with early childhood, and all studies show that how important it is to start in early childhood for a child and a person to be able to integrate further educational elements. But it is not enough. The first cycle is not enough. We need the refoundation, the restructuring of the society of Haiti that we are dreaming about will be based on the entire continuing educational system from early childhood to higher education. And higher education will become the base for good early childhood education as well.
Je
And I
m'appelle
actually have a
France.
question about the French Creole dynamic in the education system in Haiti, and I think his question exemplified that perfectly. I know it's been an ongoing debate within the Haitian community, and I was wondering if your current plan addresses that, whether education will be taught in French or Creole, or is that something that is a priority for the Martelly government at all?
Parfait. Parfait. Ça tombe bien. Effectivement, et le créole français.
You are right, French
c'est
Creole.
un débat au niveau,
The French and Creole it has become a true debate, a national debate. In the operational plan, one of our main efforts is to develop a bilingual, a Creole French bilingual system that would be balanced. And we would like the teaching to be done in early childhood in Creole. It's very clear from the studies that if we want children to understand very basic elements, the teaching needs to be done in the children's native tongue. And so for us, the decision has been made. For the first 3 years, teaching will be made in Creole. And our government promotes the Creole language. The 80% of our ministers gathering at the cabinet are in Creole.
Introduce yourself so that
Michel de Graaf, MIT.
Monsieur de Graaf at MIT. It's in Creole.
Constitution, c'est papier, baïonnette, c'est fait. Donc, parce que très souvent, d'accord que nous avons un programme sur papier, mais le fait que...
Parfois, il y a un grand programme sur papier avec des enfants. Et les enfants ont un certificat. Bon, excusez-moi, je ne suis pas créolophone. I'm not really a Creole speaker. Donc, on connaît, si on enseigne les enfants pendant 3 ans en créole, ils ne vont pas réussir un examen en français. The speaker is talking about the advantages of having some Creole as well as French. Merci bien pour votre question parce que c'est une avec les programmes, on utilise le créole pendant 3 ans et puis on présente le français écrit à partir de 4e année avec la réalité. Si on commence en créole et puis le français, mais en pratique, étant donné que les étudiants doivent prendre un examen dans la 6e année. Donc, il y a une pression aux profs d'utiliser le français écrit parce que ça crée un manque de balance, parce qu'on parle créole chez soi et on est forcé à avoir créole ou bien français à l'école. Donc, on lit.
They are totally mixed up because of this pressure to introduce French as early as possible so that they can succeed in certificate in the exams that are given often mostly in French. So I think the ministry can actually address this issue if they really want the letter of the law to be practiced.
OK. très rapidement, et pour vous rassurer,
To
au
reassure
niveau
you,
de la 6e année, les examens, c'est créole.
at the level of the 6th year, exams will be taken in Creole and French, both. And we want to look further. We don't want to test to give tests just to give tests, as once was done, but tests are to evaluate a competency and an understanding in regard of a given program. So all the decisions that are going to be taken will be reflected at every level of our governmental decisions-making processes.
We have Tressa here, and then the gentleman way in the back, and the gentleman almost
Yeah.
far in the back, and the lady on the aisle.
Good afternoon. My name's Tressa Pankovitz. I've been privileged to work with Paul and the ministry team in Haiti and get to spend not nearly enough time in country, but several trips certainly. The theme sort of this week's visit has been the need for capacity building, infrastructure building, strengthening ministry governance so that the ministry can control its own destiny and eventually take charge and manage and operate one of the best education systems we hope in the entire Western Hemisphere, if not the world. I was wondering if maybe the minister and then maybe Paul or even Sharon Ravitch at University Penn could explain and tell us a little bit more about what the needs are from the ministry for strengthening. How do you do that? What do you need? What needs to be changed? What training is needed? What additional personnel is needed? I don't know if I'm asking the question in the right way. Maybe those aren't even the things that are needed, but it's really easy to talk about these catchphrases of capacity building and infrastructure and governance. But what does that mean for all the people who are watching on the internet? How difficult would it be? How expensive would it be? How doable? And what's the payoff?
En fait, ça fait notre 4e journée.
It's our 4th day of working on education over this week. And in each time I have repeated there are 3 major priorities: governance that needs to be significantly improved, infrastructures. Many schools were destroyed and needs to be rebuilt, and in order for access to be spread, and then service, quality service, service of quality. So whether for improving quality or access, we need infrastructure, we need governance, good governance at every single level in terms of provision, planifications, personnel. The personnel of the ministry needs to be very good. Each person working at the ministry must really understand and be at the level of his or her role and mission with clearly defined objectives. All of these are things that are underway. And what we need at the ministry is mostly human resources and people that are truly capable to carry out and carry on this mission of restructuring and refoundation of education. For the ministry to be able to implement this restructuring, the leaders of the ministry needs to be very good, and the culture of good results, be widely spread throughout the ministry. So task forces are meant to help and assist the ministry to do this work, to really detail what the profiles are, what needs are, the job descriptions should be, and that every single leader, manager in the ministry, in the department, know exactly what his roadmap is and is ready to implement it. So these are the references we need to build in order to achieve those goals. So the task forces are meant to accompany us with this strategy and these processes.
You know,
Paul, est-ce que vous avez
sure. Let me get into let me provide some specifics on things that could have immediate impact on building infrastructure. You know, you talked about the curriculum and instructional reforms. The speaker from MIT and you know there are individuals who have been working on improving the quality of the curriculum instructional models for a long time. There's been various projects out there bringing those groups together and really developing a comprehensive curriculum instructional strategy and then training the teachers on how to basically deliver on that curriculum instructional, on those curriculum instructional programs would go a long way towards giving the ministry an immediate tool that could then be made available to all schools as a form of, you know, there's different ways of subsidizing schools. You can subsidize schools by giving them money so that they can abate tuition, but you can also subsidize them by giving them curriculum instructional models. You can subsidize them by training their teachers. Sometimes you can give those things in exchange for their, you can provide them the financial subsidies if they will train their teachers and if they will use the curriculum instructional models. So, you know, so the ministry has created a working group that is focusing exclusively on the development of these national curriculum and instructional models, the pedagogies, the very same things that you're talking about, trying to address those issues as they're moving forward. The creation of the Facilities Authority. Right now, school construction is still kind of a go at your own, kind of a solo exercise, you know. There's not a lot of coordination from the ministry. You know, the creation of a National Facilities Authority that would be Haitian-led in partnership with the international community will go a long way towards standardizing designs, leveraging resources, perhaps even raising money, perhaps even creating a mechanism where the local municipalities, or sections as they're called, could get involved in the strategizing on where the schools could strategically be placed. That's another example. You know, finally reaching a consensus on the subsidy model. Whether it's the World Bank Education for All model that could be strengthened and built upon, ensuring that it has the right accountability, ensuring that when schools are subsidized, schools can get their subsidies in a timely manner, you know, requiring certain improvement in standards or adherence to standards in exchange for the subsidies. That's capacity building. And that type of capacity building doesn't take 3, 4, 5 years to do. Yet that type of capacity building is critical. Those are like the A, B's, and C's. Those are like the initial building blocks. That's laying the concrete, for the building. I mean, those are the critical initial infrastructure investments that need to be done. And those investments do not cost an arm and a leg. Those investments are not beyond the means or what the international community has already committed to Haiti. But yet those type of initiatives have been slow to be implemented. And I think what the minister is doing is he's trying to kind of reset things and to kind of reset the priorities or remind people of what the immediate priorities are and to really, you know, to get the support of USAID and get the support of the Education Secretary if via a bully pulpit, and given the fact that the United States is such a large contributor to many of these organizations, so that the priorities that the minister has set, the infrastructure building priorities, the priorities that are going to begin to build this educational system, to give them the infrastructure to control their own destiny, those type of priorities are being met. And I think that's the objective.
Gentleman in the back.
Yes. Merci beaucoup, Monsieur le Ministre. C'est Robert Nicolas avec la
Thank you very much, Mr. Minister. I'm with the l'Église Episcopal. Thank you very much for the work you are trying to do and achieve. You mentioned the issue of governance. We work a little outside of Port-au-Prince, and we see very clearly the issue of governance. Most children are not in national schools. They are in schools run by religious orders or private schools. As in those schools, it's as if the ministry, that did not exist. We are doing the formation. It's very difficult to operate there because there is no guidance, no standards of, it's just as if there was no ministry. And so parents who have very little means and paying for them what is a true fortune to go to school. Prenons plusieurs questions, peut-être encore deux.
Oh, you want me to ask my question now?
Yes, please, and then we'll just make sure that everyone gets their question
Okay,
in.
sure. My name's Liam Julian. I'm from the Hoover Institution. And my question was very similar to his. In what I've read is that Haiti is unique in the fact that about 80 to 85% of the students who actually attend school attend private schools. And so my question, very much similar, what is the government's sort of policy to integrate those private schools into some sort of national, call it public system, if you will? Also, we've heard a lot about the plan, and maybe at the end, if there's any way that you could point us to someplace online or something where we could get the whole thing. I've been able to find fragments, but not the whole thing, so thanks.
On prend l'autre question et puis.
We take the last question.
Okay.
Alors, ministère, je suis Myriam Joseph de MIC Industries.
I'm Miriam Joseph of MIC Industries.
Miriam Joseph from MIC Industries.
Miriam Joseph.
Je voudrais avoir un sens. Quels sont les besoins, les besoins que vous voyez aux écoles pour l'établissement d'Haïti maintenant?
Okay.
All right.
Le commentaire, la remarque qui est faite.
Regarding the remark made, when we speak of refounding the system, one of the key elements is to making sure that all the actors of the educational chain be responsible. So we also have the questions of the inspectors, the auditors, and we need to improve the supervision of the schools. They are not just the teachers, the directors, but also the inspectors and auditors are very important. And if they do not understand fully what they have to do, if they don't grasp their true mission, it is very difficult to reach the level that we are seeking. Whether it's public or non-public, the quality lies with the inspectors and auditors. I want to underline something that is absolutely fundamental. We are trying to transform the Haitian state into a state of service, so that the administrator, civil servants, the leaders, the managers, we understand that they need means, but they also, each one of them, each person, each leader, also understands that they belong to a culture of results and that they have responsibilities. Each person working in the ministry, wherever they are in the chain of education, has to understand what their responsibilities are. And they need to be to understand, we need to do a work of education with them. They have to understand it's not the work of the president and the prime minister or the minister, that it is their own work and mission and awareness. We need to develop self-awareness in these workers. Now, with the earthquake, this awareness has raised. The earthquake, in many ways, has offered us an opportunity. It has to become an opportunity for development. And at every step and every level, people need to be put in a state of responsibility, mobilized for responsibility. As time goes, we have landmarks coming along. We understand, we work, and we can see that in other countries, this has led countries towards development. And for us in Haiti, it's only the beginning, but we trust that soon we will see results. One of the characteristics of the education sector, it's primarily, you're right, a private sector. More than 80% of schools belong to are private and non-public schools. But there is this strong movement toward free, universal access to school. So today, the state is focusing on the non-public schools, and they are the ones receiving subsidies from the government. And that's our way to mobilize and improve the system, starting with those non-public schools. In our culture, we do not resist very much. As long as the time gives some time, when we see that order is coming along in the public square, then the private sector is going to follow. When we see that the government has a will to put schools together and to give tools and to give the direction, to be the compass, here's where we need to go, and here's what we are putting together to accompany us, then you can be certain that the work will be accomplished. For now, all that is done from the government is starting to be applied to the public school and is starting to be applied in the non-public schools. But change is taking time. We need time to concretize, to materialize change. It's like with a generation. It's development, it's not spontaneous. So we will take the time that is needed, and step by step we will see results. The state has, the government has really the responsibility and needs to take, to be responsible in that leadership. Before, this was not the case. So now we understand that, and we are taking the time, and maybe within 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, we'll meet again here, and we'll take a different snapshot of the educational system of Haiti. And we will see that what we see on this snapshot is much closer to the goal we want to achieve than today.
We're almost out of time, and I didn't remember that Sharon Ravage was mentioned by name. Do you want to give just a brief ultimate comment?
Greetings, everyone. So just to support the comments made by Paul and Minister Pierre, I think that we have this new moment, right? So people are oft saying that it's been 3 years since the earthquake and what has happened. In the Ministry of Education, it's been under 6 months since we've had new leadership. And I think that we need to shift our approach to a listening mode and to a mode of honoring the expertise, as Paul said earlier, on the ground, the significant expertise. In terms of capacity building, it's often a euphemism for having a deficit orientation, which we know has been imposed upon Haiti from its beginning. We need to resist that. We need to provide simply the jumpstart, the scaffolding, and the resources for them to do what they know how to do. And if I could say anything to the world community, it would be just that. They know what to do. We need to walk with them, slightly behind them, and that's the way that I think this will work.
Je vais renforcer. Je sais qu'il y a des collègues haïtiens qui sont là et puis des amis d'Haïti. Je veux dire une chose. On est à un carrefour qui doit permettre à Haïti, encore une fois, de marquer l'histoire. Et on est sur la voie de le faire. Il ne faut surtout pas regarder Haïti avec les yeux du passé. Nous allons capitaliser sur les bonnes choses du passé, de notre passé, parce qu'on a un passé qui est riche. Mais les faiblesses qu'on a eues, on les connaît. Regardons le pays avec les yeux du futur. Parce que nous, en Haïti, nous sommes déterminés à construire l'avenir une fois pour toutes dans notre histoire.
We have really reached our witching hour. I want to provide thanks to Liz White. Liz, raise your hand. She's done a wonderful job organizing. Add my thanks to Tressa Pankovitz, who, if I'm trying to get her to take over the transportation system here in Washington so that it really runs on time, she's been marvelous. Ben, thank you very much, who's helped with the microphone. We had another person who helped so much with the microphone. I do want to please thank our wonderful translators. You can't really see, it's Marie Marco and Anne-Elizabeth Giuliani. Thank you all for coming. I want to recognize what you're doing in a situation, as the minister said, 4 hurricanes. Think of 4 Sandys and then a massive earthquake. I think we're all a little odd at how you have collectively recovered from that. And thank you, world community, for watching, for listening, and taking action. Please join me in a round of applause for just 2 real leaders in education. Mr. Minister, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Did you want us to hang around for a little while? Is that okay? We won't loiter?
You've done good job.
Oh, no.
I wish I could say it in French.
This is good. Thank you.
You combine clarity of thought and motivating passion. Wonderful.
Thank you very
And Paul.
Oh,
you're
it's my
always
pleasure.
fabulous. Always fabulous.
It's